Hello, children. Hi. All right, so it's time for another Tales by Moonlight, and today I'm going to be telling you a very interesting story, an African story, real African story. And today's story is about Jabari. Jabari, a long way from home. That's the story I am going to be telling to you today. Once upon a time, Jabari lived in his village with his mother, Tata, his father, Kuza, and his sisters. Now, Jabari noticed after a while that the village was full of old men, old women, and little children. All the young people had disappeared. And so he started wondering, how come all the young people were leaving the village? It's like they grow up, and as soon as they become old enough to be helpful in the farm, they just pack their bags and they disappear. So the old men were getting frail and tired, and they couldn't do a lot in the farms. The women were equally old, and they couldn't do so much in the farms. And then the children were too young to do anything meaningful. So you know what happened to the land? There was hardly enough food because the people who had the strength to work in the farm were all gone. And so one day, Jabari decided to ask his father, why is it like this? Because he could see that his father was trying so hard, but there was never enough food for them to eat at home. And worse still, Jabari's mom, Tata, was ill and she couldn't do any work in the farm. Jabari was only 8 years old. What can an 8-year-old do for his family? So he decided to go and talk to his father one day, and he went outside looking for his dad. He found his dad under a tree. So he walked towards his dad. When he got there, he was like, Papa, can I speak to you? And his father started trying to clean his eyes. And Jabari was like, Dad, Papa, are you crying? And his father was like, no, something entered my eyes. I'm not. But Jabari knew that father was crying. And so he asked him, how come all the young people who can help out in the farms are all gone? And the dad was like, maybe because there is nothing really here for them to live for. And Jabari was like, but if they were here, we would have more food to eat. And the father was like, I don't know, but we'll keep trying. And so the father was like, don't worry about things like this, Jabari. You are too young to worry about these things. But Jabari saw that the people in the village were suffering. And so one day, the village head called a meeting of all the adults, and they started looking for solutions. But yet, there was still not enough food in the village. The young people were hardly playing outside anymore because they were too hungry to run around. The old people were tired every day because they were working too hard. And so Jabari decided that he was going to do something about it. But he didn't want to tell his father about it. And he thought about his friend, his best friend. Should he go and tell his friend about it? So one day he spoke to his friend, and his friend was like, I don't care about this village. I'm just waiting to be old enough so that I can take my bag and leave also. So Jabari knew that he's not going to tell his friend about this special thing that he plans to do. So one day, while everybody was sleeping, Jabari picked a bottle full of water and a little bag and he went out. Now he remembered that his father had told him that everyone left to a city or to another place that was bigger, another village that was bigger and better than their village. And so Jabari started to walk, hoping that after a while he would get to that village where everybody had moved to. And so he walked and walked and walked, and he was getting tired and hungry. And then in the morning, he realized that there was no village in sight. Back at home, the parents started getting worried. How come Jabari hasn't woken up? But then his sisters went to check and they realized he was not in his bed. And everybody got worried, where's Jabari? And they started searching for Jabari everywhere, but they couldn't find him. Meanwhile, in the bush or in the forest, Jabari kept on walking and walking and walking. And then the whole day passed and Jabari did not see any village in sight. He kept on walking and walking. He met all kinds of wild animals. He would hide when he sees them. He met all kinds of frightening things. But Jabari did not give up. He kept on walking because he wanted to find a solution to the problem. Jabari walked for many days. He would look for a tree and he would find something that he can get and eat. He would get to a stream and he would get some water and he would drink. At some point he became very tired and very weak. And then, one day from nowhere, he could see what looked like a building. A big building and somewhere that looked very different from his village. So Jabari saw a man. And then the man asked him, where are you coming from? But he was too tired to talk. But after a while, the man took him somewhere. And after resting, Jabari told him about his story, where he's coming from and what happened in his village and why he decided to leave his village. And the man said, you know something? I'm going to take you somewhere. Follow me. So Jabari followed him and then he took him somewhere where there were many other people. And Jabari said, and the man said to him, tell them your story. And Jabari told all of them his story. While he was talking, everybody was quiet and listening to him. And after some time, one of them spoke and said, I came from that village, but I'm not going back there because there's nothing there for me. Jabari was disappointed, but he decided he wasn't going to give up. And then he said to them, maybe if you all come back, we would be able to put our heads together and do something so that we can make our village like this village where you are. And then another person said, you know something, I really don't care about that village because there's also nothing there for me. And then Jabari wanted to give up, but something said, no, I can't come this far. I know my parents are worried about me. I can go through all of this and not be successful. And Jabari tried one more time to convince them. If you come, I would make sure that I make everybody put their ideas together, put our heads together to do something for our village. And I promise you, we will make our village as great as this village where you are. And after a while, one by one, they started rethinking it. And then one person stood up finally and said, I really don't care so much about that village, but because of your courage and because of all the pain that you have taken to come here, I'm going to go back with you. But I promise you, if nothing changes there, I'm going to pick my bag and leave again. And Jabari said, thank you. And so one by one, they all agreed to go back with Jabari. And so, on this beautiful sunny day in the village, everybody was tired and hungry as usual. And then from nowhere, they started hearing the sound of music. And everybody started wondering where the music was coming from. Jabari's parents also heard the sound of music. And then they wondered, where is it coming from? All of a sudden they turned and they saw Jabari. And he wasn't alone this time. He was with many of the older people, older young people from the village. And everybody was happy and excited. that all the young men and women were back, and it was time for them to put their hands together and make their village great again. The end. All right. So, what are the qualities that Jabari had? Yes?
I think one of the qualities that Jabari had was he was confident and bold.
He was bold and confident, yes.
Courage and resilience.
He had resilience. He didn't want to give up. He had courage. Even.
He had the mentality to keep going.
He had the mentality to keep going. Yes.
He was thoughtful.
He was thoughtful. He cared not just about himself and his family, but about everyone. So thank you everyone for coming to Auntie Maribel's story time today. Alright, until next week when I bring you another story in our Auntie Maribel's story time. Tales by Moonlight. See you in tomorrow's challenge. Bye everyone. Good night.
Bye.